So I did this video on TikTok, and it was that that one where it's playing a song, and you kind of like write the things that have happened to you, and it's more of like this, like sharing your story of abuse or like bad treatment or whatever. And so I did that, and like at the end I say, in like, I think it was in red, I say like love is, and love is kind, love is thoughtful, love is not jealous, love is not controlling. And I did that video because, one, when I was 15, I was in a relationship, and it was that relationship that was definitely became an abusive relationship. I was too young to understand what I was in for and what was happening, so I didn't know the signs to look for. And then also, I have known people that have been in those relationships, and like I've known men and I've known women, and I've seen like from like a young age to like somebody my own age. And it has bothered me to see like these type of relationships out there, and like you can't help the person because they have to make that decision. Like they have to decide to walk away. They have to decide that that behavior is no longer acceptable for them. And so when I was 15 years old and I was in this relationship, and I'm realizing things are not good, and that, like I shouldn't be hid, and that it's controlling, but I'm just not sure at the same time. Like, right, I grew up where like a man never hits a woman, but at the same time, I'm in my first relationship and I'm completely overwhelmed, and I didn't have that kind of support and maybe comfort to be able to talk to anybody about it and ask questions. So when I was a freshman in high school, like during this relationship, I actually went to high school in Chalmette, Louisiana at Andrew Jackson High. And they brought in a counselor, like a love counselor, right? And it was just like during your English class, like thank God, because I hated English. But you went there during class, and he would talk to you about like love and relationships and a little bit about sex, but it was mostly about just relationships altogether. And he said something like, you kind of zone out when you're that age, but then there was a moment where it stuck with me. And this moment, and I wish I knew his name, but it changed my life, and it changed my perspective on what I was going through and what I was seeing from the relationship that I was in and what I saw with like other people. And so this counselor said, love is kind, love is thoughtful, love is not controlling, love is not jealous. And that was a turning point for me, because I was now looking at my own relationship, which was his goal, right? But I was looking at my own relationship and going, this is not kind, this is not thoughtful, this is really controlling, and this is extremely jealous. And in that moment is when I started like pulling back in that relationship and really seeing it for what it was. And it was one of the smart, like I've never known another high school to do that. I'm sure there are people out there, or schools out there that have done it. But that wasn't the first high school. That was the first high school I went to. It wasn't the last high school I went to. And I never saw another one do this. But from that moment, I actually taught my children, as I had children, that like this is the standard of love. These are the things to look for. And if it doesn't fit within that, it's not it. And I get that people can love someone even though it's in a bad or unhealthy relationship. I totally get that. But here's the deal. You have to accept the fact that that's the kind of relationship you have. And if you're looking at something and you're not sure of what it is, then go by that. Like, that's an easy checklist. And if your relationship isn't that, if you're dealing with someone who's controlling and jealous, that's like, it's not healthy. It's a miserable thing to deal with. I've seen grown people live in that type of relationship, and I just want to be like, stop. Please just walk away from it. It doesn't matter. And that's a very hard thing to do, because that person genuinely cares and loves this other person. But what kind of life is that? That is what I have taught my children. Now, I've taught my children to look for the signs from the very beginning. And those, I think that makes the biggest difference for my children, because they haven't gotten into those situations. Not yet. They're still young adults, like 20s, late teens. Well, like 18. I'm going to be 19 soon. So, like, it's not like they've lived a full life and I can say I was completely successful at this, but I can say that I've given them the tools and the checklist of what to look for. To talk about jealousy, look, the one thing I've learned about jealousy is that is an individual person's issue. So if I am jealous, if I feel jealous, which every person in the world, you're going to feel jealous at some time. So I can tell you, from my perspective, if I feel jealous, I'm stepping back and I'm looking at what about that made me jealous. I mean, it could be a simple thing of not feeling like I was important in that situation, or, you know, it could be jealous of a friend getting a new car and I'm looking at it going like, I haven't made it to that point yet to be able to buy that new car, which actually don't go through that, but still, you know, like, that's an idea of what I'm talking about. To be in a relationship with someone who is jealous and controlling is so incredibly miserable, and you have every right to get out of that relationship. You don't owe that person anything. They are not treating you in the way that you should be treated. And their jealous and controlling issues, that is theirs. It has nothing to do with you. They can manipulate your words and their words, and they can manipulate the situation and make you think it's you. But that is a manipulation tactic. Like, that's what you have to realize. So if you're in that situation, I'm just telling you, look at the relationship, and it's just like 4 things. Is it kind? Is it thoughtful? Is there jealousy? And is it controlling? You answer those questions and you'll know what to do from there. And it's your choice, because if you choose to live that way, it's your choice. Then you can be happy with that. But if that's not what you want, then you can walk away, because you are strong enough to do so.